Now, yesterday, as I was travelling through South London, and by the way, I was a long way away from the boundary. Don't think the ULEZ extension is just for people coming in and out of the outskirts of London. No, it's for those that live within it. So if your car is not compliant and you drive round the corner to get a newspaper, it'll be £12.50. And here I was in South London yesterday watching the cameras being assembled. Now, it seems to me there must be huge numbers of people involved in this, because it's something like 2,800 ULEZ extension cameras are going up. But of course, they're being attacked at the most extraordinary rate. We saw yesterday cameras like this in Orpington that have been spray painted. A lot of cameras on big main roads, that has happened too. And on some other roads, fairly extraordinarily, what appears to have happened is they're actually being cut down. This one has been cut off at the base and they've chucked concrete in it. I mean, it is pretty extraordinary stuff. We did our live show from Cudham last night, the furthest point from central London that has these ULEZ cameras. And I think the real upset and anger in the audience was palpable. As I say, perhaps it's the nearest thing I've seen to the anger that many felt over the poll tax going way back to 1990. Now, I was told in my first week as a member of the European Parliament back in 1999 that lawmakers must not be lawbreakers. And I've never, ever forgotten that. You cannot, as a lawmaker, it seems to me, advocate breaking the law. And yet, and this was astonishing, I thought, the former Conservative Party leader, Ian Duncan Smith, said he was happy for the residents of Chingford and Woodford Green constituency to vandalise devices because they had been lied to. He said a lot of people in my constituency have been cementing up the cameras or putting plastic bags over them. I'm happy for them to do it because they are facing an imposition that no one wants and they have been lied to about. The actions you are seeing show how angry people are at what is being imposed on them. Sadiq Khan has gerrymandered all the information. People have had enough. Well, I tell you what, people have had enough. But it's a big surprise when a former leader of the Conservative Party says breaking the law in my constituency is OK. It shows the level of anger. Ian Taylor is director of the Alliance of British Drivers. And Ian, you were with us last night with that crowd.
I was.
In Cudham. You've been a campaigner on motoring issues for many, many years. And there are lots of contentious issues around driving that get us very heated. Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, they were pretty worked up, I have to say. They made it very clear. And possibly with reason. I was surprised to hear about Ian Duncan Smith today.
So was I.
It puts me in a slightly awkward position because I have always, and indeed so has my organisation, said that we will not actually tell people to break the law and condone it.
And yet a senior British politician today has done that.
Well, yes. Now, obviously, we all have little private thoughts of our own on this, and there's a part of us that doesn't blame them because we realise they've been driven to it. Hopefully, the fact that this vandalisation has taken place, because we had similar things with some speed cameras years ago as well.
We did.
But hopefully it might get home to the mayor and his people just what the strength of feeling is and make them have second thoughts. I think they think it's plain sailing because they won their legal challenge.
Yes, that was the 5 councils, wasn't it?
Yes.
Took the challenge,
yes.
And then the government could have challenged them under Article 143 of the Greater London Act, but chose not to. So is the legal route now finished?
Well, I fear it may be, but possibly not, because there is a second legal challenge, this one not from councils, but from private individuals. It has been accepted as worth hearing. What the result will be, who knows, and it will take a while. Meanwhile, the zone's...
And this is over the signage, isn't it? This is over the signage. It was really interesting that a case was won just the other day. And I guess if it can be really proved that the fact there are no signs coming into the ULEZ zone because the councils outside won't cooperate, and the signs inside the zone don't actually tell you what it's going to be, that we could get a lot of fines that are knocked back. But ultimately, they could just change the signs, couldn't they?
Well, yeah, there are signs in a few places because they have gone up on national highways roads, strategic roads. Also, the second challenge, I think this is to do with consultation procedure as well.
Okay.
He didn't quite do as he should have done.
Well,
we'll have to wait and see on that, though.
But, yeah, you know, when I look at it, we've got 20-mile-an-hour zones, which may be fine at school time, but strike me as being absolutely crackers at 2 o'clock in the morning on the embankment.
Who hires a lollipop lady 24/7?
I mean, all of that. Wales about to introduce 20-mile-an-hour zones in pretty much every town, village across the whole of Wales. Low-traffic neighbourhoods where local councils just literally just block off the end of roads. Here's an idea for ULEZ, right? ULEZ, we're told, is to stop certain nitrous oxide, particulate problems, emissions going into the atmosphere. But any car over 3 years old has to have an MOT every single year. So why not just say there is a standard that cars have to pass, and if they pass it at MOT, it doesn't matter whether they're 5 years old or 25 years old. Yeah. Wouldn't that solve the problem?
I think it would, because that should give you, if you pass your MOT, the right to drive your vehicle on the public road.
Yeah.
Not any public road except what a local mayor decides you shouldn't.
Well, yeah. No, that's a very good point. And actually, isn't it funny, with devolution, bringing power closer to the people, but the Mayor of London is making decisions that affect huge numbers of people that don't even live in Greater London.
Well, devolution is a two-edged sword. It brings accountability more local, but at the same time, it creates more bureaucracy that wants to justify its existence. So
and it affects people outside the zone.
And of course, the more administrations you have, the more it costs.
I have a feeling, Ian, and I have a feeling for the Alliance of British Drivers, that the issue of motoring is going to be very, very big at the next general election. This story is not going away. Thank you.
We hope so.
No, I think that probably is okay. Thank you. And there we are, folks. It's dead simple. If you want to improve air quality in Greater London, Mayor Khan, you do it through the annual MOT, and there you have a standard, an emission standard that every car has to meet. Just to say that because your diesel car is over 10 years old, that you have to pay £12.50 a day, has nothing to do with the environment whatsoever. It's all about tax and control. And I'd love the Mayor's office, please, to respond to this. I'll put this question in writing to them, and let's see what the response is.